This is a position that I reached in a tournament that I played on chessworld.com, and I want to show this example because it shows very nice how important it is to understand chess endings. Until now, my opponent had played the opening and the middle game very strong, so at a certain point even he had a better position, and I thought that I could lose the game. And we reached this ending. I was playing black, and my last move was rook takes b3. He took on f5 with check. I took the bishop, and after rook f7, king e4, rook takes f8. I had to make a choice here. One possibility would be to take the d4 pawn with my c pawn, and then we would get a kind of drawish ending, and I wanted to try to win the game. So what I did was create a pass pawn by playing c4, and my opponent replied rook to e8 check. I went with my king to d3 to support my pass pawn, and then he played d5. I went with my rook to b7 with the idea of preventing his pawns from advancing and having the option of putting my own rook behind my own pass pawn. And here something very strange happened. He played d6, which is a losing move, d6, because he simply loses the d pawn. Actually, in this position he could have played much better e4, because then I don't think I have the possibility to win this. After rook d7 to avoid e5, because then I take on d5. Something like this could happen: rook c8, c3, advancing my own pawn, rook c5. The idea of that is, of course, to protect this pawn so this other one can advance. And then if I take on e4, then he will take on c3, and after rook takes d5, again we have a drawish ending. And if I don't take on e4 but play c2, then he can continue advancing with his own pawn, c5. After king d2, e6, rook e7, d6, rook takes e6, rook d5 check, king e2, d7, c1 queens, d8 queens. We get a very difficult ending that probably will be a draw again. So actually in this position, I will go back to the game now. In this position, after my move rook b7, e4 would have been a very good move. And he played d6, and that's losing. This is what happened in the game. Rook d7, e4, and I took the pawn on d6. We continued with e5. I went with my rook to behind my own pawn, and after rook d8, king e4, rook d6, rook c8, e6, king to e5. He lost the second pawn, because here the only way to defend this pawn would be to go with the rook, for example, to a8, but then my pawn advances, so he has no choice then to give the e6 pawn, and then he cannot hold the pass pawn, because my king goes towards the pass pawn to support it, and the rook must go away, and then c3, and then it's actually over. Now here my opponent kept on playing quite some more moves, but it was actually hopeless. He could have resigned in this position also. Okay, so here we see actually how important it is to study the endgame, because many players put a lot of energy in learning openings and opening lines and those kind of things. But it's so important to master the end game, because many times, even if you get an end game that is not so favorable for you, if you play it correctly, there is a big chance that your opponent makes some mistakes, because end games are not that easy to see what the right lines are. So learning the end game is a big possibility to win games that don't look that good. So okay, this was the example that I wanted to show you, and see you next time.